Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the world's religions. Today we're exploring one of the oldest and most influential faiths in human history, Judaism. Judaism stands as one of the world's most ancient religions, with a history stretching back nearly 4,000 years. It is recognized as the oldest Abrahamic faith, a group that also includes Christianity and Islam. Adherents of Judaism are monotheistic, believing in a single God who revealed himself through ancient prophets such as Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and Solomon. Today there are about 15 million Jews, making it the 10th most popular religion on earth. About 46.6% of all Jews resided in Israel, 6.9 million, and another 6 million Jews resided in the United States, with most of the remainder living in Europe, and other groups spread throughout Canada, Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Australia. Before moving on, let us see what is the origin of the term Judaism. The Torah refers to Abraham as a Hebrew, a term that has become closely associated with the language spoken by his descendants, Hebrews. Abraham's grandson Jacob was given the additional name Israel. This name has become strongly linked to the Israelite homeland. Among Jacob's 12 sons, Judah assumed a leadership role. Over time, Judah's tribe became dominant among those living in Israel, and eventually, the entire nation came to be known as Jews, with their faith called Judaism. The word Judaism comes from the Hebrew name Yehuda, which means Judah. Over time, the term evolved to refer to the religion and culture of the Jewish people. The evolution of this term reflects the deep historical roots and the complex journey of the Jewish people throughout history. It's a faith with a rich tapestry of traditions, beliefs, and practices that have influenced many other religions and cultures worldwide. Understanding the history of Judaism is crucial to grasping the depth of its rich and influential heritage, which encompasses law, culture, and tradition. So now let us dive into a very short summary of Jewish history. The story of Judaism begins way before there was Judaism, when people worshipped nature or idols made of stone and metal. Everyone thought that was normal, but a little kid named Abraham realized that these idols were fake and powerless. Judaism traces its origins back to him, often called the first patriarch. According to the Hebrew Bible, God made a covenant, a special agreement, with Abraham, promising him descendants as numerous as the stars and a land for his people to inhabit. To seal this covenant, the Lord also said to Abraham, "Every man-child among you shall be circumcised." Individuals who violate this specific commandment are subject to the severe divine punishment known as karet. This covenant is a cornerstone of Jewish belief, symbolizing the special relationship between God and the Jewish people. Abraham's journey from Mesopotamia to Canaan, guided by his faith in God's promise, marks the beginning of Jewish history. Abraham's descendants, through his son Isaac and grandson Jacob, later named Israel, eventually settled in Canaan, the Promised Land. This land is central to Jewish history and identity, representing both a physical and spiritual homeland. Jacob, now Israel, has 12 sons whose descendants become the children of Israel or Israelites, giving their name to the land of Canaan, now known as Israel. Fast forward to a critical moment in Jewish history, the Exodus. The Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. Moses, a prophet and leader, was chosen by God to lead them to freedom. At Mount Sinai, God gave Moses the Torah, which includes 613 mitzvot, commandments, among them the 10 commandments inscribed on 2 stone tablets. After wandering in the desert for 40 years, the Israelites entered Canaan and established a kingdom. King Solomon, David's son, built the first temple in Jerusalem, which became the spiritual center of Judaism. The temple housed the Ark of the Covenant and was the site of major religious rituals. The First Temple period is often seen as a golden age where Jewish religious practices and identity flourished under a unified kingdom. However, Solomon's kingdom later splits into two, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. The Assyrians conquered Israel in 722 BCE, leaving Judah as the sole remaining Jewish kingdom. In 586 BCE, the Babylonians conquered Judah, destroying the sacred temple and exiling the Jewish people to Babylon. This period marks a dark and sorrowful chapter in Jewish history. But in 539 BCE, Cyrus the Great of Persia conquered Babylon, freeing the Jews and allowing them to return and rebuild the Holy Temple. This event ushered in the Second Temple period, a time that witnessed the development of many Jewish traditions and the rise of influential texts like the Torah. Different Jewish sects like the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essenes also emerged during this era, enriching the tapestry of Judaism with their diverse interpretations. In 70 CE, the Romans destroyed the Second Temple, a devastating event that led to the Jewish diaspora. During the Middle Ages, Jewish communities established themselves in Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. In Europe, Jews often faced persecution, but they also contributed significantly to the cultural and economic life of the regions where they lived. The development of Yiddish and Ladino languages, the flourishing of Jewish philosophy, and the codification of Jewish law in texts like the Mishnah, Torah, and Shulchan Aruch are notable achievements of this period. The modern era brought significant changes to Jewish life. The Enlightenment and emancipation allowed Jews in Europe to integrate more fully into broader society. However, the rise of nationalism and anti-Semitism led to the Zionist movement, which advocated for the return of Jews to their ancestral homeland. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 marked a new chapter in Jewish history, fulfilling a long-held aspiration for many Jews worldwide. This summary only scratches the surface of a rich and complex history. For more details, check the links in the description or stay tuned for more videos on the subject. The core beliefs of Judaism. One God. God is omnipresent and without physical form or properties. In fact, God is beyond gender, though often referred to as He for convenience. In Judaism, God is the unseen force behind all events, knowing everything, past, present, and future. Jewish people fundamentally believe that God is the sole creator and sustainer of the universe. He has no helpers, no children, and no rivals. God is eternal. In the Tanakh, various names are used to refer to God. Two prominent ones are Elohim and the Tetragrammaton. The Tetragrammaton refers to the four-letter name of God, represented by the letters YHWH in the Hebrew alphabet. The exact pronunciation of it remains uncertain. Ancient Hebrew did not include vowel markings, so the original pronunciation has been lost. Scholars propose various possibilities, including Yahweh, but there is no definitive consensus. However, many Orthodox Jews avoid saying this name aloud and instead use substitutes like Hashem, meaning the name, or Adonai, meaning my Lord. Additionally, out of respect, some Orthodox Jews refrain from writing the word God directly and use forms like this. The Tanakh portrays God as actively involved in human affairs. People can develop a personal relationship with God, much like Jacob, who famously wrestled with God. This God communicates with believers through prophets, rewards good deeds, and punishes evil. Heaven and hell. The Hebrew Bible barely mentions heaven or hell. Heaven is simply described as the dwelling place of God. It refers to a place called Sheol, but this is depicted as a vague underworld where souls go after death, without providing any specific details. Nonetheless, the Bible clearly states that the soul continues to exist after death. Judaism acknowledges the mystery surrounding the afterlife and its rewards. However, the focus lies on living a meaningful life here on earth. By following God's commandments and teachings, Jews strive to create a better world and strengthen their connection with the divine. The concept of tzedakah, meaning justice and charity, is a cornerstone of Jewish practice. Rooted in the Torah, it emphasizes leaving gleanings from harvests for the less fortunate. In the modern world, many Jews practice tzedakah by generously donating to those in need, with some even contributing 10% of their income, known as Maser. This commitment to social justice reflects the belief in building a more equitable and compassionate world. The covenant. Jewish people believe in a single God who has established a covenant or special agreement with them. This special agreement, established with Abraham, promises the Jewish people a special relationship with God and the land of Israel. In exchange for God's blessings, they follow God's laws, mitzvot, and strive for holiness in their lives. Messiah. Most Jews, except a few groups, believe that their Messiah has not yet come but will arrive one day. Just as individuals strive for personal perfection by following God's ways, the entire world is moving toward an era of eternal peace and abundance. This future time is known as the era of Moshiach, or the Messianic era. During this era, Jews believe they will return to the land of Israel and rebuild the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. One of the most remarkable aspects of this time is that death will cease and the dead will be resurrected. The sacred books of Judaism, the Tanakh, also referred to as the Hebrew Bible, is the foundational text of Judaism. It's a collection of 24 books, traditionally divided into 3 parts. 1. Torah, literally instruction or law. Also known as the Pentateuch, it's the first 5 books of the Tanakh. These books tell the story of creation, the Israelites, and the giving of the Torah, law, to Moses, sometimes called the 5 books of Moses. It contains 613 mitzvahs, divine commandments, and is meticulously preserved by the Jewish people. The Torah is written in Hebrew and includes Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. The Torah is believed to be of divine origin and immutable. 2. Nevi'im, literally prophets. This section includes 8 books containing the writings and prophecies of major and minor prophets. The prophets address social issues, call for ethical behavior, and offer pronouncements about the future. 3. Ketuvim, literally writings. This section is a collection of 11 books covering various topics like history, poetry, wisdom literature, and rituals. Some key books include Psalms, Tehillim, Proverbs, Mishlei, the Talmud. This vast and complex work is not a single book, but a compilation of Jewish law, commentaries, and discussions. It expands upon the Torah and guides religious practice, ethics, and everyday life. The Talmud is further divided into the Mishnah, written collection of oral traditions, and the Gemara, analysis and interpretation of the Mishnah. Rabbinic literature. Over centuries, a rich body of rabbinic writings emerged, including commentaries on the Tanakh and Talmud, legal codes, and philosophical works. These writings offer interpretations, legal rulings, and philosophical ideas that continue to shape Jewish practice and thought. Some prominent examples include the Mishnah Torah and Shulchan Aruch, codes of Jewish law. The sacred texts of Judaism are written almost entirely in Hebrew, with some sections in Aramaic, the language spoken by Jews during their exile in Babylonia. Judaism encompasses more than just religious beliefs. It is also the people, their shared identity, and their culture. It is not tied to a specific race. Within Judaism, there are Jews of various backgrounds, black, Asian, and white. Some are born Jewish, while others convert. Additionally, there are Jews with varying levels of religious observance, including atheists and agnostics. According to Jewish law, a Jew can be either someone born to a Jewish mother or an individual who converts to Judaism. Some modern Jewish denominations also recognize descent through the father. Culture is the practice of everyday life. Judaism embraces a way of life that reveres the rhythm of days, weeks, months, years, and individual existence. The Torah is rich with guidance. Some relate specifically to the Holy Temple, and many apply to everyday Jewish life. Let's explore some of these fundamental practices. Shabbat, a weekly day of rest and celebration. Remember that God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th? He commanded his people to do the same. Every 7th day, from Friday night to Saturday night, Jewish people celebrate Shabbat. It's a time for feasting, prayer, and taking a break from the hustle and bustle of daily life. Holidays, celebrations of faith. Judaism is marked by numerous holidays, each with its unique traditions and significance. These special days provide opportunities for reflection, celebration, and connection with God. Celebrations will be discussed in more detail later in this video. Kosher, a sacred dietary practice. In the Torah, God sets forth a special diet for his people. Only certain species of animals may be eaten, excluding pork and shellfish. These dietary laws, known as kosher, help Jews maintain a connection to their faith through their daily meals. According to the Torah and Jewish law, all vegetables, fruits, grains, and nuts are kosher. When it comes to meat, a kosher animal is one that both chews its cud and has a cloven hoof. The animal must be slaughtered in a specific way. In this process, a trained professional uses an exceptionally sharp knife to ensure a swift and humane death for the animal. Additionally, all blood must be thoroughly drained from the animal, as blood is not considered kosher. Nowadays, kosher food is available in specialized shops, or can be identified by specific kosher symbols on packaging. It's important to note that shellfish, birds of prey such as eagles or owls, and fish lacking both fins and scales, like sharks, whales, and porpoises, are not considered kosher. Moreover, meat and dairy are kept completely separate. Prayer, communing with God. Traditionally, Jews recite prayers 3 times daily, often gathering in synagogues for communal worship. The cornerstone of Jewish prayer is the Shema, a passage from the Torah that is recited every morning and night and is also said as a Jew prepares to pass on to the next world. Synagogues. Synagogues have long been the focal point of Jewish life and worship. Each synagogue houses a handwritten Torah scroll, which is read aloud during services. Additionally, a rabbi, who is a trained Jewish scholar and interpreter of Jewish law, is typically present. Rabbis officiate various Jewish ceremonies, including circumcisions, bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, and funerals. Sacred adornments. Jewish males are enjoined to wear certain adornments during prayer. Tefillin are leather boxes containing sacred scrolls strapped to the head and arm. These scrolls include passages from the Torah, such as the Shema. The talit is a 4-cornered garment, often white with black stripes, worn draped over the shoulders. The fringes, or tzitzit, on each corner serve as a reminder of God's commandments. When visiting places where Jewish customs are observed, you might notice individuals wearing a kippah on their heads. A kippah is a small round skull cap worn by Jewish men as a sign of reverence and respect for God. It symbolizes the acknowledgement that God is always present above them. Orthodox Jews adhere strictly to this practice and wear a kippah at all times, whether indoors or outdoors. Many Orthodox Jewish men have long, curly hair on the sides of their heads, known as payot. The tradition of growing payot is based on a commandment found in the Torah. Specifically, it comes from the verse, "Ye shall not round the corners of your heads." By leaving the hair uncut, Orthodox Jews fulfill this biblical injunction. Mezuzah, a symbol of faith at home. Mezuzahs are placed on the upper right-hand side of doorways in Jewish homes. The mezuzah case contains a scroll with the Shema written on it, serving as a constant reminder of faith and God's presence in the home. Jewish holidays in the fall. Rosh Hashanah. The Jewish New Year is celebrated with prayers, the sounding of the shofar, ram's horn, and festive meals, including the traditional dish of apples dipped in honey to symbolize a sweet new year. Yom Kippur. Known as the Day of Atonement, Jews come together for a day of prayer and fasting, abstaining from food and drink for 25 hours to seek forgiveness and spiritual renewal. Sukkot. This holiday is celebrated by dwelling in special huts called sukkahs and taking the 4 kinds, lulav, etrog, hadas, and arava, to remember the Israelites' journey in the desert. Winter celebrations. Chanukah. Also known as the Festival of Lights, Chanukah is celebrated by lighting a menorah, or Chanukiah, for 8 consecutive nights, commemorating the miracle of the oil that lasted 8 days in the rededicated Holy Temple. Purim. Toward the end of winter, Jews celebrate Purim, a joyful holiday marked by reading the Megillah, Book of Esther, dressing in costumes, and enjoying festive meals and treats. Spring festivals. Pesach, Passover. During Passover, Jews remove all leavened products from their homes and eat matzah, a flat, cracker-like bread, to commemorate the Israelites' escape from Egypt and the haste in which they left, which left no time for bread to rise. Shavuot. This holiday marks the day of the divine revelation at Mount Sinai when the Torah was given to the Israelites. It is celebrated with special prayers, the reading of the 10 Commandments, and enjoying dairy meals. Since the medieval period, Jewish diaspora communities formed 3 main ethnic groups based on where their ancestors settled. 1. Ashkenazi Jews. Originating from Central and Eastern Europe, Ashkenazi Jews form one of the largest Jewish communities worldwide. They have a rich cultural heritage and have significantly influenced Jewish life, literature, and traditions. For centuries, Ashkenazi Jews primarily spoke Yiddish, a West Germanic language. Yiddish was a blend of Old German, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Slavic languages. 2. Sephardi Jews. Sephardi Jews trace their roots to the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, and Portugal, and later migrated to North Africa, the Middle East, and other regions. They have distinct customs, music, and cuisine. They have their own language, Ladino, a combination of Hebrew and Old Spanish, which is unfortunately under serious threat of extinction. 3. Mizrahi Jews. Mizrahi Jews hail from the Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia. Their traditions reflect the diverse cultures of these regions. Beyond these categories, there are other Jewish communities like those in Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Ethiopia, China, and Georgia. These diverse groups contribute to a rich tapestry of Jewish beliefs and cultures. Before World War II, approximately 9 million Jews lived in Europe, 5 million in the Americas, 800,000 in Asia, and 600,000 in Africa, totaling just over 15 million. Tragically, about 6 million Jews were systematically murdered during the Holocaust, known as the Shoah in Hebrew. The 20th century witnessed Jewish emigration, expulsion, and extermination, leading North America and Israel to become the primary homes for modern Jewish communities. There are several denominations in Judaism, which include Orthodox Judaism. Orthodox Jews are typically known for their strict observance of traditional Jewish law and rituals. For instance, most believe Shabbat shouldn't involve working, driving, or handling money. Orthodox Judaism is a diverse sect that includes several subgroups, including Hasidic Jews. This form started in the 18th century in Eastern Europe and holds different values than traditional or ultra-Orthodox Judaism. Hasidic Jews emphasize a mystical experience with God that involves direct communion through prayer and worship. Chabad is a well-known Orthodox Jewish Hasidic movement. Reform Judaism. Reform Judaism is considered a liberal category of the religion that values ethical traditions over strict observance of Jewish laws. Followers promote progressive ideas and adaptation. Most of the Jews living in the United States follow Reform Judaic traditions. Conservative Judaism. Many people consider this form of Judaism somewhere in between Orthodox and Reform Judaism. Typically, conservative Jews honor the traditions of Judaism while allowing for some modernization. Reconstructionist Judaism. Reconstructionism dates back to 1922, when Mordecai Kaplan founded the Society for the Advancement of Judaism. This sect believes that Judaism is a religious civilization that's constantly evolving. Humanistic Judaism. Rabbi Sherwin Wein founded this denomination of Judaism in 1963. Humanistic Jews celebrate Jewish history and culture without an emphasis on God. Jewish renewal is a religious movement that seeks to reintroduce the ancient Judaic traditions of mysticism and meditation, gender equality, and ecstatic prayer to synagogue services. While there are various denominations of Judaism, many Jews don't identify with a particular classification and simply refer to themselves as Jewish. Those are the basics of Judaism, and we only covered a small portion of it. But learning even the basics of anything that millions of people deeply care about gives you an insight into our fellow humans' worldview. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find all the sources used in the description. If you like this content, please subscribe. Stay curious, stay brave. Until next time.